Today's day 2 of my channel. Just decided to have a bit of a coffee talk just to explain more about what I want from this channel and just to kind of tell a little bit more about myself. Excuse my voice, I just woke up. And what I'm thinking I want from this channel is just to be able to express, not just express my feelings, but express like my likes and my hobbies. Because right now I do listen to just a lot of music. Most of it is, I guess you can describe it as K-pop, but for me, I listen to more music from, from Korean culture than I do from American culture, if that makes sense. I don't like describing it as K-pop because that's just one genre of many, just like there are a lot of other musics here besides just pop music. But I guess you can describe me as second gen fan. When I started becoming more interested in Korean culture, it was, I think, around beginning of senior year in high school. Yeah, because I remember I do watch a lot of excuse me, I do watch a lot of anime, and then I started watching dramas from Japan, and then I guess that's how I found a few K-dramas. And then after watching a few episodes of that, I remember I really liked the music, and I wanted to know more of the actors. And the first actor I decided to look up was actually T.O.P. And Iris was the first drama, I think, that I watched. Yeah, it was Iris, then Boys Over Flowers. Those two classics, I guess you could say. And T.O.P. was the first person that I got interested in. I wanted to know, who's this? Why is he so good? And so when I found out who he was, I wanted to know more about him. And I realized that he wasn't just an actor, that was his second job. And his first one was being an artist. But even though I found that out, I wanted to not just look into him. So I decided to kind of Google top 5 artists of South Korea during those years. And during those years, the first thing I clicked on, it was that list was the first list that I saw. And at the top, I remember so clearly, was a group called Beast. And that was the group that got me more into the Korean culture. It's like my first stepping stone. The first song I ever listened to was Fiction. I remember clearly because it just came out at the time, which is why they were so popular. And so I got to know them more, and then I got to see more of their like the videos that they did, the behind the scenes kind of thing, and the mini series. Those were fun to watch. But as I watched them, I felt a little bit more like connected to them. specifically to one person because he was like, he's the shyest and like the not so outspoken. So I felt more of a connection from him because I guess I saw myself in him a little, and I realized if a lot of people can, like, you know, be friends with him and like him just how he is, then maybe there was hope for me too. Maybe you know, eventually I'd find people like that, people who like me just for me. And even though I was like weird and quirky and a little bit 40, because sometimes I am, which is why I connected with him so much, because even though people think he's a little 40 or his jokes are a bit weird, I find myself laughing to them every time just because I knew they were funny. So after getting more into the culture, I started exploring more. I started looking more into the food as well, because food is one of my many hobbies that I like. Not just because food is delicious, but because I do like to cook, but I like baking more. So of course I looked more into the sweets, and they are so good. I like going to my local Asian market, and that's what it's called here, just Asian market, that's the title. And it's so much fun to go into like stores that have from different cultures. You get to see a lot more different foods, and you get to see a lot different, even more like the fruit products and things like that. And if you ever have the chance to try a Korean pear, you should. Definitely should. They do taste like pears, like you would taste here, but they have more of an apple texture. And they are like rounder, but bigger than apples. But they are good. Very good. Okay. I had to step outside for a moment. It's a bit hot in here. I had to keep my fan off because it's too loud and too noisy. But it is getting hot because it's before summer. So even before summer, it gets pretty hot. Because around here, since it's Arizona, it gets to be at least 120 degrees Fahrenheit during summer. So I can't really turn the AC on right now either. So I'm just gonna have to suffer through it for a little bit. So as I was saying, the reason I got into Korean culture more, and the reason I like it more than American culture is not because, you know, the typical, oh, you just want, you know, to be around hot guys. You just think they're all, you know, good looking and cute, and that's it, and that's all you like them for, you know, which, I mean, sure, they are, but there's more to that than just, you know, looks. Because, you know, back then, I mean, no offense to my faves, but back then they were, you know, they were just beginning out and they were like babies. So you can't really say they were all that great looking. But I'm not saying they weren't at all, because they're definitely very cute and adorable. But the reason I got into it because when you look at the lyrics to people's music, when you look at the reason why they created it, those are the reasons that, you know, stick with you more. For me, it was like a lifeline. To be honest, when during this time when I started to get into Korean culture more, it was like a lifeline. Because before that, during high school, it was not happy times. As much as, you know, as much as your family likes to say, you know, high school is like that for everyone, it's honestly like, it's different for me. To be honest, it was very different in a bad way. And nobody really knows except for one of my sisters and my dad and my stepmom. They're the only ones who knows the truth. But I guess it's not as bad as it used to be, my feelings towards what happened. So I guess it's not much of a bad memory anymore, just memories that I rather wish I didn't have to go through back then. But anyways, before I started finding out more about, you know, Korean culture and just basically Asian culture in general, you know, I was trying to find things to look for. I was trying to find things to keep me going. And when I found, you know, the K-dramas and the music, it gave me a sense of, you know, people who did want to listen. It gave me a sense of people who did understand, because they did go through really tough times themselves just to get to their starting point. Which is why I think I relate to the culture even more than American culture, because here, American culture, it's normal to like fend for yourself, and you have to stand on your own 2 feet. And if you have any help, then you're, you know, considered more of you know, a weak person that can't, you know, handle doing, you know, important things. And over there in Korea, it's more normal for you to do things together. Even something simple as just eating or, you know, going out, it's, you know, considered a little weird for you to do it by yourself. Because in there, that's when you're a little weird, and it seems like, you know, something's wrong because you don't want to be around people. Which is why I feel like, you know, that makes sense to me. That, like, doing things together, even something as plain as like eating out or going to the grocery store or things like that, you're not left alone, which is something I kind of gravitate towards too a little more. Because even though I am American, is the concept of everyday life here it does seem a little more foreign to me, just because of, you know, how I grew up, and just because, you know, I stayed, you know, by myself most of the time, and most of that does have to do with, you know, my decision, my choices, but most of that has to do with, you know, the people that I thought I could depend on, and the people I thought I could call friends. And, you know, being disappointed by the outcome of that. So I guess that made me want to, like, not really try anymore. for a time. Because for me, I graduated high school, like, it's been 8 years now. And between then and now, I've, like, scarcely had any jobs. And when I did have jobs, it, like, gave me like, real panic attacks every day. I remember I used to work for a company and for a time, and I would dread going to work. I would dread, having to work because I know as soon as I walk out that door, there's a huge chance I'll have a panic attack even before I step in to work that day. And I know, like, during the day, it'll be stressful for me, not just because it's a busy place, but because the way people ran the store, it was not great. I'll just say the management could have been better. It could have been handled more professionally, I guess. So I didn't last on there. Even though I really wanted to seem normal, even though I wanted to, be normal, it gave me too much anxiety. It, like, irritated my anxiety too much and just made my depression even worse. Which is why after I quit, for about 2 years, I couldn't leave my house. Not even, like, to go out with my family, not even to just hang out with my siblings. The only reasons I ever went out was because just to go to the grocery store. That's it. That's all I ever went out for. Or to take someone to work and just come back home without stepping out of the car. That's how bad I got. That's how bad my depression got. And the only reason I have a job now was thanks to one of my aunts, because she actually worked here in the store that I work now before me, and she wanted, she needed a little help. So I decided, why not? It's just like a day or two. So after the first day, I was still a little bit panicky. My body was still a bit shaky. Because for me, when you have a panic attack, everything is not as people think it is, like where it's visible and you can see it happening. For some people it does happen that way, but for me it's very like an inner turmoil type of battle, I guess. It's more subtle, but it's still there, and it kind of gnaws away at me like throughout the whole day. And during the first day it was very visible for me. If you don't know what to look for, if I don't tell you that it's happening, you won't see it. You'll just think I'm very quiet and not talkative. But as I got more and more comfortable there at that store, I was able to, to open up my shell a little more. I was able to like stick it out. And it's been over 2.5 years now since I've been here at the store. And surprisingly, I I do actually like working, even though the location is not that great. It's very a little sketchy, but the customers themselves, most of them are regulars and older generation, so which is good because I actually like get along with the older generation better than my generation, which is funny. But I do like where I am at now. But even though I like where I am at now, I'm starting to become like restless. I'm starting to think more about my future and what I really want, and which is why I started to give YouTube a chance, because it gives you a lot more creative freedom, a lot more like mobility, and where as my job I have to be, you know, I have to be here. I have to stay here because this is where it is. But if I'm able to like eventually get this, you know, this channel to a point where I can just live off of this instead, I would actually take that instead. I might still like stay at my store for a little bit after that, just, you know, for a little more, to feel a little more secure until I'm a little more confident in myself. But after that I'm not so sure yet. But that's just the general direction I want to go for now. So yeah. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and for joining me today. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything I mentioned, go ahead and leave it in the comments and subscribe if you want. And I'll see you all next time.